ladies and gents. How you all doing? This is Conolwork.
This is Rangru. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, we promise you more WARNO content over here on Tuesday, and we will deliver. That is our guarantee. We are on death row today. Frank, talk to me about the belligerents, though.
On left hand side in the blue, we have DuroSVK playing as the 3rd American Armor Division. Right hand side in red, we have Greyhound also playing the 3rd American Armor Division. So it doesn't matter what will happen, because the 3rd American Armor Division will either win or lose. Well, actually both, technically.
Ah, it's a Schrodinger's match. Absolutely. So, Kiowa Warrior over here getting a nice early kill, picking up one of those kind of scout vehicles here. And maybe looking for another one here in the center? I don't know. We'll see. We do actually have a couple of early Apaches up to the northern side. Now, on Tuesday, these guys were not quite able to show off their firepower, but let me tell you right now, they are doing it now.
Yep, man's in the ambush those engineers, and good god, those rockets are absolutely insane. Especially compared to how those rockets would work in Wargame, the rapid, accurate fire from those Hydras is like insane, absolutely insane.
Yes, indeed. Now, a quick reminder for those of you who didn't see Tuesday's match. No longer is it just straight population kind of capping territory. Now you must actually have command vehicles in that particular area. So you can see in the central position right about now, we have an M151 Mutt CP on one side. We have an Abrams CP on the other side. These control capture points. So in this case, they're fighting over the Bravo as we speak. And you can notice that each one of these capture zones has a plus number in the upper corner, the upper left-hand corner at that. Insofar as, the person who controls more of them, of course, controls the spice. And he who controls the spice controls the universe. So it's really all about having those command vehicles in here.
Yeah, it's all about command vehicle captures, and not even just capturing the enemy zone, but at least being able to contest it. In Death Row, it's really all about central Bravo position, controlling the hill. Gives you a really good territory in regards to pushing the rest of the map. It's the real heart and center of the map.
Now, I'm fascinated by some of these. Oh my gosh, there's interesting.
What's interesting?
Just a huge pipeline of troops running back and forth over here from DuroSVK side. Meanwhile, over here on the eastern kind of flank here as well, lots and lots of troops kind of going every which direction. Looks like maybe we'll see a southern push from Greyhound and a northern push from Duro.
That's looking like that's what's going to be happening here. It should, well, pushing the northern side in this map is weird because there's no real command zones here to really capture. It just gives you a better angle into attacking Bravo. So really I want to be pushing the southern side the majority of the time here. So we'll see how it goes here for Duro's SVK push. He's got a decent amount of infantry. And it was a pretty good infantry, but at the same time, when you're fighting a mirror matchup, your good infantry is just the same as your opponent's good infantry.
Indeed. Now, I am trying to do a little bit of rough calculation here. Oh, wait a second. Technically, Charlie over here is a 3-point... Ooh. We talked about on Tuesday that some of these matches, that these earlier maps here are trying to be much more mirrorable. They have
symmetrical.
Much more balanced. Yeah, symmetrical. That's the term I'm looking for. Thank you. And I'm noticing right now, I think we kind of talked about a little bit about this before we kind of went live. This map is far more choke pointy than the two ways map that we saw over here on Tuesday.
Yeah, this is kind of a remix of the Death Row map from Wargame Red Dragon. It being choke pointy isn't actually too bad, because even though it's pretty narrow, it's actually a rather deep map. There's a lot of territory to fight, where I guess turn the camera vertically compared to horizontally, so it kind of makes the narrowness. But in the center, we are seeing a push here from Duro moving up his infantry, using Apache rockets to absolutely stunning effect, yeah, quite literally.
Absolutely, indeed. Now, one of the things I do want to make a quick call out, something you mentioned on Tuesday, but I'll kind of mention again here. if you notice that a burning husk where a building used to live, you can also see we now actually have completely and totally altered sightlines on this map. So it's actually really, really quite awesome. Unlike SD2, destroying property over here actually does bring a benefit besides, just kind of redeveloping the area for future, business propositions.
Yeah, just being able to influence a map like that, it's a pretty minor thing in the grand scheme of things, but that definitely does make town fights more interesting as the town fight goes on longer and longer. You're going to have less cover, and it's going to be just more like pathways for, longer range, deadlier weapons to really showcase their firepower.
I guess kind of brings itself to a certain kind of question or two. And guys, please keep expectations here. We are working with extremely hot code. So anything that you see here evidenced might be changed, honestly, by the time this replay even kind of comes out.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that means that town fights are going to kind of transition into something more like infantry early, vehicles late?
I would think so.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious, I suppose.
Like, you bring in the CQC infantry first, the superiors and the engineers to blow up the town, and then you bring in the Bradleys and the BMP-2s after all the city blocks have been blown up to hell and back. It's gonna really bring in, like, some really cool dynamics in that regard, because it's so dangerous to bring tanks and vehicles into towns. If you can open up some line of sight angles for them, they can get in there from a safe distance and be able to blow stuff up.
Exactly, and I feel like that's kind of the cool thing about the fact that warfare is certainly changing by the time that this kind of game really evidences itself. One thing I am going to miss is that while there still is artillery, and maybe we'll see some today, although I would not be too expectant about that. The addition of helicopters does kind of give a much more mobile artillery kind of feel to it.
Yeah, and the American helicopters are pretty good. The Kia Aurora and Apache rockets are definitely, from time of recording, the current meta run-to combo, and rightfully so. They're both cost-effective. The Kia Aurora is dedicated anti-tank. The Apache rocket is dedicated anti-everything else.
Mm-hmm. And just take a look at the accuracy as well. If they are not moving, that Hellfire missiles over here on the AH-64A, 87%. 87.5%. So, rather unlike, oh, wait a second, Eagle moving in on the Kiowa Warrior? No. Okay. Alright.
Oh.
I respect that.
The Kira is really trying to make a move here.
Now, I'm wondering about the sense of the fact that helicopters can land. I mean,
Of course they can.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, like, do you ever consider maybe trying to do some kind of crazy thing where you try to lure in an opponent and then somehow make it so you can, land before he gets there, kind of like a sucker them kind of in? I don't know.
I mean, back in War Game, if you landed a helicopter in time and you knew an anti-aircraft, or like a plane was for you, and it only had anti-aircraft missiles, you could avoid it. But that's really the extent of the fancy micro you could do, yeah. You only really land in helicopters to get them supplied, and currently just supplying them at supply trucks. There's no FOBs yet.
Fair enough.
We're seeing a big push here up north from DuroSVK, bringing in a bunch of infantry, fire teams, mechanized rifles, engineers to try and get a good foothold. Kind of saying like it's crossroads area. You really want to capture that small little village. That's a pivotal point up north and being able to press it down in Bravo. But it's going to cost them a lot of resources to push up here. It'll be interesting to see if it does actually pay off in regards to getting Bravo under control.
Yes, indeed. Now, these rocket Apaches, these guys from the Hydras that we had seen before, just absolutely pounding that northern kind of flank. Unfortunately, getting pushed back first by Stingers, and I think next by that Chaparral is going to cause more than a little bit of a hassle for them. How actually, I guess, does the meta change? Ooh, supply truck going down. Beautiful long-range shot there. How does the meta kind of really change in its current form with the addition of things like dedicated surface-to-air missiles, dedicated helicopter gunships. How does that kind of affect the way you need to be thinking about that battle space?
Or you just gotta be very careful when bringing in aircraft, because missiles will blap you. And same with helicopters as well. They're glass cannons. You gotta be very careful of how you maneuver them about, because if you get too close, you're going to get blapped. But they can be very powerful just thanks to their mobility. We're seeing Duro bringing in some helicopters of his own. That Stinger is trying to get a bead on the MEO. Really get the kill. That's aggression.
I mean, as of right now, he doesn't really have the most to really worry about, and that Apache, that's the one to kill.
Yeah. He just needs one more shot, but it does go down. Now Apache can respond back pretty nastily with his Hydra rocket, and you've seen even just a Kira and Apache alive, Greyhound Abrams person being forced to fall back.
Interesting. So we finally get to see an A-10. We didn't see any A-10s over here on Tuesday. Definitely has himself a fair chunk of utility and might get picked off. No F-15s, one after the other. Flares.
Fox 2, Fox 2, Fox 3,
Jeez.
Fox 4. Wow, yeah, F-15 of current recording has really good ECM. I think some guy uploaded a GIF on one of the Discords where some dude shot like a dozen missiles at an F-15, and most of them missed.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, it's just the ECM value on the F-15 is absolutely insane, which is the anti-missile value. It pretty much influences the chance for the missile to miss.
I mean, and I guess that could kind of make sense, but let's not maybe go into the real-world applications of this. Let's kind of maybe just get back to this.
It looked like something from Ace Combat.
Ah, I missed that game. Kilo Warrior over here trying to engage that M1A1. Probably pretty successful about this too. Although a couple of Stinger teams, doesn't get the Stinger teams up in time. You see these guys just thought maybe it's time for us to go.
Yep, they're gonna be buggering off. And Greyhound has this pretty huge concentration of armor up north, but it's not really a whole lot he can do with it. He's pretty scared of the Kira Warrior, and rightfully so, and same with the Apache. Those things can blap him out the sky pretty easily, and he doesn't... Well, he has the Stingers kind of nearby, but they're not in the best position to deal with those Apaches.
The thing is, though, the Apache has exactly 1 health.
Oh yeah, he needs to repair.
Yes, he does. And I don't think he's going to get it. Oh, Stinger had a shot and decided not to take it. Interesting.
15 heavy. Gonna be engaged in another F-15, and there we go. Greyhound runs the head on. Oh, the A-10 doesn't get the kill. Oh, those missile effects are beautiful, Khan.
Oh, they absolutely are.
Fox 2, Fox 3, Fox 4. Is it gonna be a Fox 5? Oh no, god damn that. That's just ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, yeah.
It's gonna be fixed probably by the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's just for you guys who don't know. I mean, this tournament's from Saturday. We're recording this on Sunday, so you're seeing this on Thursday. And Eugene has been pretty good so far, as time we're recording, in being pretty like quick with the patches. So if they keep up the pace with the patches as they've currently done, especially with the strike team, I think we're going to be in a pretty decent playable state in like a month or two.
Well, and that's the thing too, isn't it? Is that as of right now, they've really been super reactive about feedback that has been given by the strike team, and they've been really great about fixing a lot of the bugs that have already been encountered here. Chaparral going down, Kiowa Warrior definitely earning an achievement, I think, is kind of ambushing that guy from a very long ways away. So I do have to commend Eugene for that. So I'm kind of fascinated. It seems like this F-15s have utilized a lot more in terms of just kind of constant air supremacy, but that air supremacy tends to always be just a kind of a consistent combat air patrol.
Yeah, yeah, it just kind of comes in, tries to shoot down a helicopter or two, and then buggers off before it gets killed by another F-15. And it's kind of interesting to see how the battle lines have developed so far. I mean, has a whole heap of units kind of along the center of the map, just kind of in a big defensive formation. He does have that platoon of Abrams up north ready to rumble. And all we're seeing military police push on through with Abrams support.
And therein lies the problem for him here. Now, the M249's engaging the military police. Military police, no wilting flowers, though.
Oh, they're pretty decent. I mean, I don't think it's fair to call them ersatz trooping, because they're not exactly meat shields at being a half squad, but they exchange the crappy disheartened debuffs for having some decent firepower at least. And 20 points is not bad for that infantry squad. It's really funny to say that 20 points is really cheap, just because of how the point values in WARNO are very large.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that too much. You want to comment a little bit more on that? What you kind of mean?
Oh, it's great. Originally when we were testing, they were at more like war game, like Steel Division 2 levels of points, where an Abrams was like 140 points. But buffing everything, or just not really buffing, it's just changing the point values to everything be ×2 to like these ridiculous like 280 points for an Abrams is great, because the main problem we've seen with War Game, SD, all of those, is that the 5-point system really screws you over once you get to like 10 to 15, 20 point units, because a 5-point change, either north or south, can make a huge difference in balancing. I mean, we've seen so many infantry in SD2 go from 15 to 20 points depending on the flavor of the month. So just being able to change the basic infantry, like these mechanized rifles, from, you know, what would be like a 30-point unit to 70 points, if you do a 5-point change to 75 or 65, that's not that big of a deal.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Good change. I'm really happy about it. They're not going to get rid of the 5-point system, so you might as well just make the points larger.
Well, at least it encourages, I think, a little bit more circumspect usage. It's not the same kind of thing of like, ah, yes, I have a Soviet division. You do not have a Soviet division. Therefore, I shall bury you in armor.
Or speaking of armor, Duro is pushing pretty heavy in the center here. The Abrams are starting to move on out. He doesn't really have a whole lot of recon backing him up, but he is getting good map control here, because yeah, the Abrams, or CV, has moved out of the sector. He is being forced back, just thanks to a small little skirmish here from Duro, and that's going to be giving Duro a lovely +3-point advantage. Oh, CV coming back in, yo.
But you know, I think that's kind of a fun little thing about this. Ooh, does this tow Cobra, is he going to be able to... Yeah, he's got air to grounds ready to go, and he's aiming for that, yeah. He's aiming for that team.
Yep. We've seen an A10 being brought on in. I think he's trying to go for a CV snipe here. I hope we get to see its gun go bro. Oh, Aardvark with the napalm.
Well, A10 is just absolutely getting pounded.
Is he? He's trying to shoot down the bloody F-15 with his gun. That's beautiful.
But that F-15 refuses to be touched. But yes, first napalm strike, actually, I think, of the WARNO cast. So, you know, folks, mark that down. It's definitely going to be a new thing for us here.
Just look at effect. I mean, it's like blocking a lot of the screen, which is, you know, makes sense. It's bloody napalm. It's a pretty smoky substance.
Now, I am noticing that the anti-air over here from the infantry tends to be not hit or miss. I don't even mean that as a pun. But it can be a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah, man-pads are just kind of the more deterrent weapons. You're not really supposed to be shooting down F-15s with them. That's more of the chaparral's job. But as we know, right, the F-15s are busted. The anti-air is essentially useless.
Yeah, the best you're really going to do is just kind of continue to just fire just flares out the back end of that F-15. But hey, it happens.
We're just seeing, I think we're going to see a big tank engagement in the center here. Greyhound is maneuvering his Abrams to fight Duro's Abrams. And Duro is out in the open, so this is going to be a bit of a detriment to him.
Oof, yeah, one going down already. Yikes, but that's 2 kills already over here for Duro.
Yeah, goddamn, it's, you know, the combat is extremely deadly here. We're seeing these Abrams just getting blabbed in a few seconds, yeah. But Greyhound definitely did take the better in that engagement, managing to give himself a bit of breathing room in Bravo.
Yeah, we say that, but at the same time, there still are mech rifles here, and those mech rifles, they do have the M47 Dragon.
Yep, not the best ATGM, but enough to think about, enough to force those Abrams to think about showing their face anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. Oof. You know, it's kind of a crazy thing watching an Abrams just absolutely, to use your term, blab a infantry squad back into the dust. But it is, there's something pleasing about it, you know?
Yeah, it's all the sound effects of just like the Abrams guns going off, the smoke, the fire. Heck, even if you zoom in really close on infantry, you can actually hear them shout and stuff, which is a really neat little effect. Like, this game is... The balance and gameplay has a lot to be desired still, but they did a really good job of the visual aspects. This is probably one of the...
Prettier.
One of the best looking RTS games Eugene has made, and honestly probably one of the best looking RTS games I've seen in quite a while, just in terms of graphical fidelity.
Now, there was a potential for an A10 gun going on through. Yes, in fact, he's being engaged right now, and the F-15s, of course, getting into a slap fight.
It's literally Ace Combat in the sky. Just all these missiles spamming, no one's getting hit.
A10, on the other hand, I mean, this guy just continues to dance over the front lines. Now, one thing I do want to kind of make a quick call out, looking over here at the lower right-hand corners of a unit tag, noticing we have definitely some different colors here. Do you want to comment on what that might be over here for the folks at home?
Oh, it's just a quality. It's really a very useless stat. It's essentially Eugene's way of telling you if a unit's good or not, but actually very subjective. Because it's usually just based on the price of a unit. So, a cheap unit would be considered poor. But as you may know from playing Steel Division or Wargame, just because a unit is cheap does not mean it's bad. Sometimes, and usually, the cheaper units are the best units in the game. Look at T-3476.
Except for Ersatztruppen.
For Ersatztruppen. That's what Landshooter are for. And Volkssturm. We're seeing a huge heap of Abrams up north here, trying to maneuver onto Bravo. Quite a bit of napalm they're going to have to contest with, and Duro is trying to get his mechanized reinforcements into that forest.
Yeah, I was just kind of following those guys as they're running across the open ground. I don't know that I really like their chances that much. They're just getting really, really lucky from the fact that there is so much sight blockage because of that napalm.
Yeah, and they are probably going to very quickly, as being an open terrain is not the best when your opponent has lots and lots of machine guns.
Well, you know, it's just fighting against tanks when you're, you know, PBI is not the easiest kind of notion here.
The main battle tanks are pretty well armored for a reason.
Exactly. But Rocket Apache, no, sorry, not a Rocket Apache, an AH-64. Oh, never mind. His hydras are depleted. Not as terrifying as he could have been otherwise.
F-15 coming in, trying to get the snipe. And the A-10 coming in for the gun run on the Apache. Brutal stuff.
And not to be outdone, Greyhound's own 64s are down here on the eastern side, hammering this attempted push. They do have to watch out for that Stinger. But for the moment, either routing squads or just absolutely putting them 6 feet under, which is exactly what you need anyway.
Yep. I don't know, I've seen Greyhound push out from the forest here, trying to get into a decent position. He still has those 3 Abrams alive and mostly good shape. Duro doesn't have a whole lot up here to really contend with this, so This could be a pretty good opportunity for Greyhound to make a good push in the northern sector of Bravo.
It could. It certainly could. Now, let's see if we can try to find the... No, where is that? Oh, that's still the 151. Okay.
Yep, still just in the corner, yeah, so it's going to make a bit of a trip to go and kill out. But right now the Abrams are being forced back.
Well, and there's going to be a hefty amount of reinforcement going straight up the gut here from Duro himself.
Yeah, it's 3 M3 Bradleys, 2 Abrams. Actually, the points do up. I mean, both sides do have a consistent tick of 260 points a minute. But with the unit selling ability, where your unarmored vehicles will go back and be refunded for full price, there's quite a few times where you're playing, it's like, oh, I just have 500 points somehow. I don't know where I got this money from, but I can guess I'm going to buy a whole platoon of tanks. Well, I guess half a platoon of tanks. 500 points isn't really that much in WARNO money. Inflation has really hurt us going into the 80s.
Well, I think the thing, though, that's still kind of very, very valuable about this, and I think I actually kind of like that, is... Yeah. So just, honestly, in ST2, I think it was one of my kind of, like, private gripes I'm making around the public right now, was I've always asked myself, you should have trucks littering the map. Where have they gone? So I like actually that, at least that nice little kind of touch over here that can definitely bring something a little bit more alive in something like WARNO.
Yeah. There's also a really cool feature if you zoom in when units are moving, Khan. Everyone drives on the right side of the road. So when units are driving on the road, they pass each other properly in an organized traffic fashion. If you didn't know, in War Game, units would just like kind of drive right through the center of the road, and they would collide into each other all the time if going opposite directions, which was really annoying. So, like, bang on pathfights in there, Eugene. It's also just really cool seeing people drive on the proper side of the road, which is the right side.
Aren't you originally...
I'm in Canada.
Yeah, now.
It's like the superior side to drive on. I mean, most of the road
absolutely.
does.
Absolutely. Right is right. I mean, it's kind of a reflexive thing there. F-111E is coming on in again. And he is just going to pound
he's
that
going after the Apaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, the accuracy in the bombs is not exactly great, yeah, but he's gonna actually kill one of the Apaches, I think. Yes, he does.
Hey man, if it gets a little hot under the collar, what can I say?
Yeah.
Now, interestingly enough, this whole kind of transfixed front lines here, it is only 2 to 87. Now, don't let that fool you. There's been, as you can obviously see, plenty of action over these last 28 minutes as both sides are desperately trying to figure out a way to maybe pierce those front lines. Is that because of a mirror match that we're seeing such kind of this kind of more steady kind of grinding approach, or what can be done to kind of break it?
I think it's really more of the map. It's just because it's a bit more choke pointy compared to the other maps. Both sides haven't really exploited the southern area all that much. I've been very much tunnel vision up north. I mean, you're seeing Greyhound, a little bit of skirmishing down south here with some military police force on the mountains. They're definitely getting the cardio in for the day. But, yeah, this map just kind of leads to a little bit more choke pointy gameplay like that, but yeah, I think a southern push from either side would be a very good call.
It certainly would have the potential to be. Now, Thunderbolts being brought on in, I don't think we have a dedicated attack run really for either one of them, which is certainly curious.
Yeah.
Just taking a quick little look at these guys. 4 Mavericks, 2 AIM Sidewinders, and that 30 mil Avenger cannon. No wilting flowers be these. These guys are quite deadly, and honestly, I'm surprised that it hasn't been a little more active in terms of some of those gun runs really overall.
Yeah, it's just trying to get a good opportunity to spot the Abrams and blow them up. With the delay on aircraft being brought in, it's actually very interesting. It's actually quite hard to use ground attack planes because they're not as reactive as you are in ST2 or War Game. You kind of have to proactively on the field when you think the enemy might expose their tanks. So it does add a little bit of interesting. Kind of like, yeah, you have to be much more cautious with how you use your ground attack aircraft. And well, I'd say yeah, but the A-10 is also very good at tanking shots. So if you do run into a bunch of anti-aircraft missiles, we're gonna be fine.
Now, forgive me, we are actually going to see. First of all, the F-111 is getting absolutely owned. Second of all, Duro's shifting in a lot of troops, but there's so much freaking armor here. It's absurd.
God. Yeah, Greyhound is like, that's a lot of Abrams. That's a lot of Abrams.
A lot of Abrams, exactly. And geez, Duro went over open ground and got carved up.
Oh.
Like, I don't know, you cannot aggress against this. I don't care how good your infantry is.
He comes to A-10s from Duros to try and avenge him.
Will lightning strike twice?
It's taking lots of missiles. I think one of them's going to go down. There we go.
Both are going to go down. Watch. There should be a lot of it. Oh, wait. Is that one chaparral? He doesn't have any more missiles.
Oh, this game is so good looking.
It absolutely is.
I'm going to be saying that for the few months, so just keep it in mind, guys. But it's absolutely insane. Just look at A-10 trying to shoot down the other A-10. A clutch Singer missile, yeah.
Man, that burr of the autocannon. I was like, I was checking my cell phone for a second. I was like, man, is that what was going on here? But no, geez. Still, northern side. 1, 2, 3, 4 anti-air positions really over here for Greyhound. And those micro rifles, as good as they might be for Duro, it's not going to be enough.
No,
it cannot be enough.
He has not traded effectively in the ground, and when it's two identical tank divisions, whoever has the most tanks wins. It's like in the movie Patton, when Patton was fighting, Rommel's Patton tanks. It was an even matchup, so it really just came down to who was the better general, and that's historical precedent for Patton being the best general of all time.
Well, I mean, if it was Patton against Patton, I mean, the only person who could beat Patton is himself. So,
yeah, he built the Patton tank from his own, 2 hands, so of course he knows how to destroy it.
Exactly. Now, there are some Cobras that can kind of sneak around here.
Oh.
And those toes, by the way, those toes, I'm going to just kind of mouse over this right now so the people over my end can see these. Not maybe the most spectacular penetration, but certainly fairly accurate at 60 and 40.
Yeah, cheapos, toe cobras to the Apaches, if I recall, so they're not, well, currently they're not great because you're only heavy armored tank divisions. I'm guessing against a more mechanized division with more mid-range tanks that perform really well. But he's trying to go full CV snipe here.
If he can find
war
it,
game
yes.
Tactics. He doesn't have a recon helicopter, which is definitely going to limit his ability to CV snipe. That's kind of a important tool when trying to perform such a maneuver.
Yeah. They might end up just killing his M1 Abrams, and at that point I imagine we probably will end up seeing a little bit more of an active anti-air presence again. Yep, here we go. Here's one. And the Eagle...
Doesn't spot him.
Never close.
Toe Cobra does fly over one of the CVs, and he's going to try and kill it, but it's just about getting an angle on it, so to speak. The second run...
No, he's not going to hit the rockets. The rockets are just completely out of position.
He does have the cannon still, and it is only a... There we go. Gets the snipe. But it's the second CV, and yeah, that A1 Abrams was brought out, so he's still going to have control of the sector. And we're seeing Greyhound, he knows what's up. He's bringing in the base defense, the anti-air. I don't think his toe cobras are going to perform all that well.
Well, I'm going to turn my attention over here towards the Abrams push across open ground. They do lose one, but there is desperately little in the way of actual troops over here from Duro on the field anymore. There's military police behind the front lines. There's engineers kind of being very aggressive on these, with an M35 sitting in support. And yeah, that goes over to him. CP goes down, so now it is +3 in favor of Greyhound here.
Yeah, Greyhound has managed to capture the center, and that's... I mean, once you capture the center, it's pretty much it currently. I mean, you get the +3 every second, and he's in a really good position on the ground, just with all the bloody Abrams he has. It's going to be very hard for Duro to come back from this. And there we go, he's going to be killing the enemy CV, and that's a GG.
And you know, that's honestly a very, very understandable surrender. Total victory versus total defeat. I mean, the Apaches, good freaking lord.
Good God.
And I think those might have been the early Apaches.
Yeah, those were the Apache rockets.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything else?
Nothing too crazy. There's a Kiowa on the opposite side here. It's got a Chaparral, Abrams, and several lighter vehicles. So a decent job by him as well.
Yeah, I mean, those Kira Warriors really do pay themselves off quite quickly. And...
however, the hero of the match, Huerta. Military police, as you go further and further down.
What the How?
Yeah.
Those 5 guys took down, like, an entire platoon.
Oh, absolutely.
That's...
Absolutely.
Okay, that's pretty impressive for a military police unit. He's definitely laying down the law.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Is I feel like every now and again, as we're trying to kind of walk through this entire process together, these particular troops, despite being half teams, and quote, I think these are some of the ones that are marked as being, what's the right term here? Poor quality troops.
Mm-hmm.
Insane kills. And geez, even look at the KD spread. This 2,500 spread.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'd say for WARNO, like a 2,000 spread is probably going to be the average. Like back in Steel Division, was always like 1,000 points was the spread. So pretty good, yeah. Good job, yeah, from Greyhound. I think a lot of that was definitely towards the end when he was just kind of blowing up all of the ground units on the ground with his horde of Abrams.
Everything was popping off. I completely understand.
Yeah.
Completely understand. But folks, that's going to do it for us here today and for right now. Any other thoughts as we kind of close things out, sir?
No.
Okay. All right, folks, and in that particular case then, until next time, I'm Conolwork.
I'm Rangru, take it easy.